What's up, everybody? This is welcome to Sideline2Baseline with your boy MB and my man K. Lou. I had to call an audible. He back calling somewhere, so we'll circle back to him. Oh, there you go.
What's up, everybody?
Too many men on the field.
Yeah, he like that old man eating peanuts sitting on the porch, man, sitting up underneath the tree playing checkers and chess, telling stories, baby.
Telling lies. You can call it what it is. That's what we say.
Hey, D,
MB ain't want to throw me under the bus, but that's what we say, sitting there eating peanuts, drinking some whiskey, and telling lies.
And telling story and responding. If you call them Coach and Deke, they responding. Hey, Deke. Hey, Coach. What's up, that boy? How you doing, boy? The young whippersnapper. We talking about young whippersnapper. We got my cousin D Haven holding it down. Dark. Now he's like Darth Vader. 49ers don't lose. Oh man. Oh glory. It's like he's like, what's the little character on Charlie Brown that held the little cloud falling his head? So
man,
then we got too legit. Oh, what you got? Too legit to quit, huh? Okay, I see you, baby, switching it up. Man, talk to me about that one, man. I like it.
Tua got on Twitter, saw his job was in question, thought he'd try to. I hope he saves it. Keep going, play better, like save it.
Right, because you gotta. It's the reason why you want to save it. You already got a trade underneath the table. You already worked out, huh?
Trying, man. We need him more than y'all do.
Yeah, and when you say we, go ahead and tell them who's we is.
Panthers, Carolina, richest owner in the league.
And then we got my man.
Like it.
Huh?
You don't act like it.
I know.
What's that, K-Lou?
Jason said the richest owner in the league, and I said he doesn't act like it.
He doesn't act like it.
Right.
Or does he? Remember, the richest people use other people's money.
That's exactly what he's doing.
Yeah, he definitely, with his hedge fund, he's definitely using other people's money as well. And
He
about money making it, huh?
He moved to Florida for a reason. That's to hide his money.
And speaking of Florida, we got my man Double A holding it down, baby. How you doing, Double A?
I slept a lot better Saturday night. Miami got their first win, albeit a few drops. Could have swung it the other way, but there's hope. This team is fighting. They're young. You never know. Could they go up to Pittsburgh and do what Clemson couldn't do this week? We shall see.
Wow, keep hope alive.
Throwing shots early.
10-point underdog.
He's excited. Double A excited. Well, hey, we might as well jump onto it because speaking about those hurricanes, we got those canes over here. Roots. And we start those canes off with he's a problem. I've been waiting for this all year.
Yeah.
So they came. So I'm jumping on her. Hey, we starting off. He's a problem. Van Dyke holding it down and leading our Hurricanes to a 31-30 victory. Had the 2001 Hurricanes in the audience celebrating their 20th anniversary championship. So, hey, look, man, hey, we got to show them some love. So, Van Dyke, man, hey, third game of his young freshman career, had 25 for 33, threw for 325 yards, had 4 touches. Glory to God getting it done. Also, it didn't stop there. My man Jalen Knighton, a.k.a. the Rooster, had 166 total yards. Hey, do the math. 83-yard rushing, 83 yards reception for 1 touch. And then it didn't stop there. Hey, trifecta, baby. It's like, I guess the Cowboys triplets, right? I guess. I hope they can do something like this. But hey, my man Rambo, man, letting you know, hey, he's not Sylvester Stallone, but he's still Rambo. He's blowing up on the field. Had 9 catches, 127 yards for 2 touches, man. Holding down, leading those Hurricanes, baby. We got those Canes over here. Woo. Hey, getting it done.
That's all it takes.
30, man. Those 3, they're a problem. Who you got, K-Lou?
Man, that's horrible. I can't believe he just read a highlight for the game and called them a problem.
No doubt.
man.
It takes all three. Hey, to get a win.
3 for 1.
All hands on deck, baby.
Everybody a problem.
Everybody.
This is what we've been missing all year.
1 point win, Jason. Everybody a problem.
No doubt. I'm showing love. I would throw man.
I'm gonna stay in the ACC, man. And listen, this team's getting absolutely no love and deservingly so. But they put up 70 points, and that's all I care about. Wake Forest, Sam Hartman, 458 in the air, 458 yards. And here's the sad part, y'all. He didn't throw for the most this weekend, but we ain't gonna even talk about that guy because that guy seemed to only put up 30 points, 32 points and a loss. How you lose throwing for almost 500 yards, Jason? You gotta explain that to me. But this guy put up 70 points on offense. The score, hey, let's not talk about the score 70-56.
It's like a basketball. Is it basketball season?
Yeah. That was a Wake Forest NC State basketball game. That's what it was. but we ain't gonna discuss that. Who cares about that? Let's focus on the finer things in life, and that's that offense, man. They put up 70 points. So I tell you what, if you playing Wake Forest, you better play some D because they don't care about D. They just want the ball back so they can score again. Hey, Sam Hartman, 458, 23 of 29. They ain't even a lot of balls to throw for almost 500 yards again. Like 29 attempts and 23 of 29. That means every time he throw it, it was a darn near catch. You saw 6 misses the whole game? That's crazy. Sam Hartman, he going to the league after this.
He's a problem.
Hang it up.
Who you got, Double A?
I go to where you guys made your living at. I'll go on the defensive side, and I just look and I look at the whole year together. And this Georgia team, we're going to find out this coming week in Jacksonville in the cocktail party. But they've been holding teams to 6.6 points per game, and that's less than a touchdown. And if that's the case, and they get by the Gators and can handle that, Alabama better start worrying because that Alabama defense, they look like smoke and mirrors to me. So that Georgia D, them Bulldogs, that D looks like to be a problem. So we're gonna find out real soon this coming week.
Double A showing us some love. They ain't even play this week. He's still him, but he's showing us some love, baby. He convinced.
I'm looking forward.
No doubt. D Haven, what you got, baby?
I'm gonna go with, right now he was hurt early in the year. He could have packed it up and got ready for the draft. But Kayvon Thibodeau was really good this weekend. 9 tackles, 4.5 for a loss, 2 sacks and a forced fumble. In a year where there's no real consensus top quarterback that might be number one. I think he's just trying to lock up that number one pick, and it's good to see him go out there after he was a little banged up earlier in the year, and try to get Oregon back in it. So I'm gonna go with Kayvon Thibodeau coming back to beat UCLA like they did Saturday.
No doubt. I think what they call him, the game wrecker or something. He got a cool nickname, the game wrecker. I think isn't it something like that?
Yeah. He could be a franchise
game wrecker.
Yeah.
Do you all think Oregon can get back in this playoffs with a 1 loss?
I don't think so.
Pac-12,
it's the SEC Big Ten thing, man.
That's it. Huh? They won't even look at them with 1 loss, huh?
No, I don't think they play anybody higher rate now. I mean, the fact that Ohio State is starting to get on track, but still they can say Ohio State was in the beginning of the season, still young, quarterback still being developed. So, like I said, if they want you, they'll find a reason. If they don't want you, they'll find a reason.
There you go.
Yeah, no doubt.
He's right every time, too.
I'm holding to that, man.
It don't make no sense, but he ended up being right every time because they going to spin it exactly like he said.
No doubt. I'm telling you, baby, they'll spin it, man, just like that. And speaking of spin it, baby, Jason, what you got, man, for he's a problem in the NFL, man?
Well, I was going to do college. I was going to stick with y'all. So what I was going to do, because I can't actually say a Clemson quarterback, but I can say an ex-Clemson quarterback. K. Lou appreciate this. Chase Bryce.
There you go. At App State,
there you go. He goes to Carolina. Hey, look at this. 18 for 28, not quite 6 incompletions, but very efficient. 350, 2 on the ground. Remember year before last when he, I don't know, saved our whole season? Seems like we should have kept him. Just saying. Seems like he should have. But, Chase Bryce, he's our problem that he ain't there yet. That's what it is. So that's what we got. He's my college pick.
No doubt, no doubt. All right, then hey, let's start with you, man. NFL, baby, who you got? He's a problem.
Yeah. I mean, he kind of unsung. Everybody thought, with Chubb and Hunt out, but Dearness Johnson really carried them, and Baker Mayfield out. He basically carried them to the win. And this dude was on a fishing, doing fishing for a living like 2 years ago. So, I like to give him his props. 22 carries with 146 yards, a touchdown. So I think basically he was their offense Thursday night. So I think Dearness Johnson, big win for the Browns, but he was an unsung hero, and it's got a good story. So
no doubt, he's a problem. Keep moving those chains, baby. He kept moving those chains, man. Double A, who you got, baby?
Yeah, I got the Wes Welker on steroids and playing for them Rams. Just last week, just yesterday, 10 receptions, 156 yards, 2 touchdowns. But then I looked at his year stats. He's leading the league in receptions, 56 for 809 yards, leading in yards, and 9 touches. He's leading the league in touchdowns. We're 7 games in. This guy's for real.
Yeah. He's definitely getting it done.
He's definitely a problem.
Yeah. Connor Coop, he's definitely a problem, man. With Matthew Stafford, all right, and him, go-to guy, baby. K. Lou, man, who you got, baby?
Hey, man,
I think you got a one-upper
because they were showing out this week. The quarterback and the wide receiver. The wide receiver, though, Jamar Chase went for 200.
Yes.
Okay, and this was a guy you guys know I was super high on, even though he didn't play the college football season on last year. I said, y'all must have forgot. This was the number 1 receiver the year before. And then he said, who y'all gonna throw to me? Who y'all got gonna throw to me at LSU? No, I ain't doing that. COVID. Yeah. I'm sitting down. I'm gonna watch this. And a lot of people thought he made a huge mistake because he dropped a tad bit. I mean, a tad bit. He was the second wide receiver. No, third, right? Because
Waddle went first.
Miami ended up being the one in Miami ended up being
Waddle went first.
So he ended up being number 3 coming off the board, which I thought everybody was an idiot because he actually where you can look at the number 1 guy, Alabama, number 2 guy, Alabama, and they didn't fit the mold. When you talk about a receiver, I can't remember his name, but the number 1 guy was small.
Harris.
And then
Smith.
Devontae Smith.
Yeah, Devontae was really tiny and frail looking. And then you had Waddle, just short, to me, a special teams guy. They drafted a special teams guy. I'm still telling y'all that. That's what it was, and that's what it is. And I said they wasted a pick on a special teams guy. Then you got this. When they build the wide receiver, they build this guy. And somehow he dropped the number 3. But he let them know y'all made a mistake because he went and let me back up a little bit. Preseason, remember? They were hating on him again.
Yeah.
He was having all these drops. I said it ain't money time, man. This dude showed up every single big game LSU had. You could just chalk up 5+ catches, 100+ yards, and 2+ touchdowns. Every big game they had, he showed up for them. And they had many weapons, but he somehow rose over all of them. Well, he just went 25 yards a catch.
Against Baltimore.
25 yards a catch for 200. That's what he did. You
against Baltimore.
A quarter. Because when he get that thing, it's 25.
And I think Humphrey was trying to match up with him, right?
And he showed why I fell in love with him. It wasn't the catches, it's after the catch. It's showtime with him. He don't go down. He's like a running back that first contact. You got to start logging those yards when you talking about Jamar Chase. Like what he do after the catch.
Lord, hey, Golly, pay the man. Good Lord, you promoted him like
he got
Don
paid
King.
already. He gonna get paid again.
Yeah,
They gonna have to do him early.
You didn't even say the most important thing. He's breaking Randy Moss rookie records right now.
Listen, and after this year, like next year, they gonna have to go ahead and go to the table again. They can't wait 4 years for this guy. You know, he might start feeling himself and say he won't out.
You know, hey,
Jamar Chase, I think all y'all know, absolutely a problem.
Yeah, good Lord, you heard it from
point of contact. He's a problem. That's what impressed me.
And I wanna correct one thing you said. The NFL, they knew he was a problem because I looked at it too because I felt the same way. Like, man, he went after those guys, but I was like, wait a minute, he actually was the first receiver taken. So they knew he was a problem. Yeah,
they traded up for him.
No, they said still the Bengals. Yeah, because I thought what you said. I was like, yeah, he's right. I was like, let me double check.
No, he went 5.
Count Pitts as a true tight end.
He wasn't, bro. I'm telling you.
Listen.
Because I was going off on Pac Jam. Like, how in the world could Miami pass him up to get Waddle?
He was 5, right? Chase was 5.
Yeah,
right?
he went 5.
And then Waddle went 6. Or Smith went 6. Yeah, Waddle went 6.
So they did go after him.
Yeah.
Yeah, they did.
Oh, okay.
No, I'm saying that's what I'm saying. I want to correct you. They promoted like you promoted him like Don King. So
my bad.
They felt the same way.
He should have went before them quarterbacks too.
Hey, but unless you could,
Jacksonville should have got him.
Like
he has no catches right now though.
Yeah,
if he was in Jacksonville,
Atlanta should have got him.
They did right. Skipped over.
Atlanta got Kyle Pitts ahead of him.
Yeah, that's what happened. So
okay,
that's what happened. Because Pitts, he looked like a receiver. He's starting to break out a little bit. Had back-to-back 100-yard games these last.
Well, they did right, man. He would have died over there with Matty Ice. You see what's wrong?
Yeah.
Look at Julio, man. He's a shell of himself. Look at Julio right now. That's awful.
Can you check down to a receiver?
You got to give Belichick some
check down to a receiver.
Check that. You got to give Belichick some credit. Matt Jones looks like the quarterback out of all these guys.
Man, stop it.
That ain't Belichick. He just fell in his lap.
Yeah, he's still on that. But I like Matt Jones, man. But
he gonna be around for 10 years.
But who you got, man? He's a problem, man. Who you working with?
Right here. Let me just Tua, he's a problem. Yeah.
Tua legit.
Oh yeah. I mean, what did he throw for 400 yards, 4 touchdowns? He had a pair of picks, I believe, but
yeah,
I don't care. Dude, I need him to do just enough for them to believe in him. Just a little bit. That's all I need. I don't care if he falls off right after November 3rd. I just need him to do just a little bit until November 2nd. So he's great. He's fantastic. He'll take you to the Super Bowl. Tua's the president. Let's go. Pro Bowl vote early.
He's a problem with sarcasm.
Hey, he got hidden motives, man. Go ahead. Say it again for those who joined us late. Tell him why you want him to be a problem.
Because I support him, and I think he's a great person. I want to have success in his career, and to his family. I want him to make a big difference in his community. I just
good coach talk.
Oh man, I tell you,
bring success to South Beach. That's all.
Man, you doing some inside trading, huh? You promoted, got a smoke screen, man. Well, I would tell you one thing where you don't have to promote, man. This Tennessee Titan defense. Wow, they showed up and showed out, man. Held Kansas City offense to 0 touches. This is the first time since Patrick Mahomes became a starter that anybody ever held him to 0 touches. And then speaking of him, they had Patrick Mahomes, man. He was out there clowning. They made him look like he was clowning. He was 20 for 35, 206 yards. Once again, 0 touches, right? 1 interception, 1 fumble, right? Also, quarterback rating of 62.3. And on top of that, he didn't finish the game. They saw the backup. That Tennessee Titan defense, their problem. They brought it, man. I mean, they made that Kansas City team look like, man, I know they were struggling all season with turnovers, but good Lord, you couldn't blame it on the turnovers. It was like 24. I mean, he had turnover in the first half, but it was like 24-0 from the beginning, man. It was like from the beginning to end, man, they was creating havoc, man. What I mean is this, can Kansas City like rebound from this, guys? I mean, are they like, I mean, there was a lot of people favorites to repeat. You know, they got made to change their offensive line, but Tennessee exposed everything. They sacked Patrick Mahomes I think 4 or 5 times, had like 9 quarterback hits. I mean, Andy Reid, like we know how we respect him as an offensive mind, him and Eric Bieniemy, but man, they was a problem, man. That Tennessee Titans defense is a problem. Is there a problem for Kansas City this year? K-Lou, what's your thoughts on that?
I definitely don't think it is. MB, you played in the league a long time, and you just know sometimes you show up and you can't believe that was y'all out there. Mm-hmm. Like from what you see daily in practice, what you've seen previously in the previous weeks, and what you know everybody that everybody's capable of, you know, you're shocked. And I think that was one of those games. Obviously it's the NFL and it means that much more one week. However, it's still one game. I think Aaron Rodgers tried to remind us of all of this week 1 when they laid an egg. He just came out there and said, you know, it's only one game. And so I think, you know how it is, MB, they ain't gonna even watch this tape. Guys, they're not gonna watch any of this tape. They're gonna move on from this and start when the guys show up, they're gonna pull up this week's opponent and start right there. You know, because everybody know that wasn't them, and they're gonna ignore it and move on. Now the coach is gonna be on their tail a whole lot more this week. You know, they ain't gonna be on the beach no more. But I think we all know that's not them.
I agree to a point, but it's been kind of sloppy, especially with the turnovers. You know, before I was giving a pass, man, they not taking care of the ball with the turnovers. Patrick Mahomes, he had another game where he had 1 interception, 1 fumble and stuff. But Haven, what's your thoughts on that? But that's a good point, K-Lou thought. But I don't know, with the turnovers, that's the part that's concerning me. Mm-hmm. You know, what's your thoughts on the
I agree with you, MB. It's the turnovers. We know that their defense isn't always the best. Trash. You know what I mean? It's really looking bad this year. They seem just a little off. I don't know if Kelsey's completely healthy. You know, it's just that the timing just isn't like it. You know, I'm not going to say Sammy Watkins was that much of a miss, but it's just like the timing just is a little bit off. And they're not the machine that we've seen in past years. And it's been like that the last couple of games. I think they woke up a little bit last week against Washington in the second half, but then to come out and put up that performance, I think they'll be okay. You know, they got the Giants coming up Monday night. I think that'd be a big tell. They should do what they have to do in Kansas City to get back home. But I don't think they're the same juggernaut as we've seen the last couple of years.
Right. And I think for me, Styles make fight, and Styles makes fights, right? And Tennessee's style of how they play with the running game and open up play action and you know, Tannehill, who K-Lou love. I think it just exposed them. Like, I agree with K-Lou. Like, it's just one game, and with the Titans had Julio Jones back, had AJ Brown back. You know, they were full force, even though they lost a horrible game against New York Jets. But minus those guys, I think Styles make fight, and definitely they got exposed with that. I mean, what's your thoughts on it, Jason?
I just think that I think it was Mike Vrabel that won that game. I think not everybody's going to be able to do what Tennessee did. I mean, if you'll notice, Kelsey never had that moment where it was like, how is he so open? It just never happened, because it seemed to me like they were trailing Kelsey. Everybody else, outside looking in, it always seems to be so worried about Hill and his speed. But for me, man, Hill's really, you know, he's you get too tied up on everything else and then he gets you. I think it's Kelsey that moves that offense. And I think Kelsey never had his moment. And I feel like they always had underneath coverage, so they never had the easy pass to Kelsey. And that's how you seem to frustrate Mahomes, because he seemed to first read, if the first read ain't a bomb, if that's not what the play call is, then it's first read or where is Kelsey? It just always seems to be kind of, you know, the creating. And they just had somebody all the time. And it just frustrated Mahomes and led to him taking some hits and some stupid throws. I think everybody wants to be able to say that, but not actually do it. And I think Tennessee had the personnel to do it, and then when they had the ball, they have the personnel to keep it. So I think they're in trouble, but they're not. I mean, they're going to be in the playoffs, and then once you're in the playoffs, you got
a whole new season. Yeah, no doubt, man.
Mahomes can beat you on any given Sunday, but I think it's been 3 years of this show that he's been doing, and I think the league is caught up a little bit. So I think that's happened, and then I think the breath of fresh air that I've seen this year is you've got to change into the guard, whether it's the Chargers, it's the Cincinnati team, Baltimore, even though they laid an egg, Buffalo. You got some new young teams that are hungry right now that I don't think they're going to take their foot off the gas. I think when Kansas City gets in, they're going to squeak by to get in. They're already at 4 losses after 7 weeks.
Right.
That's you're looking at 11-5. Or now it's a 17-game schedule. That's a lot of losses early. Yeah.
Right. Speaking of changing the guard, I mean that leads right to Nate. What about Cincinnati? I mean, is Cincinnati live or memories? I mean, are they for legit? K-Lou, what's your thoughts on that? Cincinnati Bengals. I know Chase is your guy for. He's a problem. I mean, is Cincinnati really a problem? I mean, they beat Pittsburgh. Now they beat the Ravens. I mean, is there a true change in the guard in that tough AFC North division?
I wouldn't. I wouldn't go that far. I will say though, the quarterback position in Cincinnati and that wide receiver position are solidified for the next 8 years, guys, at least. You start looking to add to those pieces and bringing back some spirit on defense, which is what Marvin Lewis was able to go right in and do immediately when he had the job there. I think that's if you're in that organization, you're thinking, hey, let's get him another weapon outside, but especially let's start, bulking up this defense, because that's the AFC North. Like, it is a defensive position conference. And just like the NFC East, we all know if you ain't playing defense, you might as well get out of there. But offensively, it's a changing of the guards. We're going to start seeing new names pop up at the top when you start talking about being the best in not only in that division, but in the NFL with both of those guys. But I'm going to mention something that I didn't mention, that this team, Cincinnati's doing a decent job of, that Kansas City is stinking the field up on right now, and that's running the football. And if you remember, Hilaire was a rookie when he came in to that situation and really lit a spark running the football. And if you really think about Andy Reid's offenses, especially when he was in Philadelphia,
always had the running game.
Always knew who the running back was.
Yeah,
does not matter. Brian Westbrook, Shady McCoy. Before him, MB. Who was it?
Deuce Staley.
Staley. Yeah. So we always knew, and they were monsters. And why were they monsters? Because they got out into the passing game.
3 down backs.
So much that they were killing you, 5 yards in a cloud of dust or nothing like that, or toting the note. If you had to worry about splitting out and doing a corner. I ain't say us doing a corner. We wasn't even, we man, they go out there, we switch. Because he would only move running backs to actually throw it to him. All the time, MB know it's dummies. We love it. Hey, man, it's a playoff. I'm gonna go out there. We manned up. Yes, sir, baby. I got you. I'm gonna look pretty. I know neither one of us about to do nothing. But when them jokers went out wide, you would have. That was number one option. That was the read. That was the first read. So that was always the thing. So. I'm sorry for going backwards, y'all, but that's what I'm thinking about. So when I heard you guys start talking about Kansas City.
Yeah, no doubt. And in Cincinnati, you talk about defense. I mean, that's the thing. This free agency this past season, usually Cincinnati don't make a big splash. And not saying they made a big splash, they didn't sign any quote unquote what you consider high profile free agent. But the thing about it, they're especially on the defensive side, man. Those guys they did sign are producing for them. You know, because their defense went past 2 years, they couldn't play dead in the Cowboy movie, and I was like, man, these jokers. But now this defense against the Ravens and stuff like that, I mean, they're starting to against not just the Ravens, but just all season long, they started to show up. One guy, Trey Hendrickson, they got him from New Orleans Saints. You know, he's producing. My man Ricardo Allen, they got that second tier. They don't have those rival 5-star, but they got that second tier guys that fits in well with what they're doing. And I think what you said, Caleb, are they elite defense? No, because I was looking, I was like, man, I want to see where they rank, and they're not ranked high, but they're at least they're not playing dead in the Cowboy move. They're showing up and doing some things, and they really did a good job against Baltimore Ravens, surprisingly, especially with Baltimore run attack. I thought it was going to be no contest, man. Any thoughts on the D-Haven?
No, I just say they picked up some nice secondary pieces with Uzier from the Cowboys.
Yep.
The other safety they picked up. So they you said they had some good underrated free agent signings.
Exactly.
People playing their parts, and they stuck with Zach Taylor, and it looks like it's starting to show fruition this year. So
but let's tell the truth over there again. In that division, we know who play defense. You know what I'm saying? Like it's like the stars of that division every year on the defense side of the ball. So they're going to have to match that somehow, some way, in order really to become, the next whoever.
Yeah, no doubt. I agree with your defense does wins championships, but it's just point out they're actually heading in the right direction. Huh?
A well balanced offense like Tennessee or like Cincinnati that aren't turning it over and that are giving them leads and holding on to that ball. They're making those defenses look really good at that point. They're playing downfield at that point, right? Hitting their ears back.
Tennessee's got a defense, so it's easy to say that when they have the thing that. So
right.
Cincinnati's going to put some ones and twos for a couple years on that side of the ball. Some 5-stars.
There they go. They done popped up again.
That 5-star, baby. They got one 5-star defensive end, Sam Hubbard from Ohio State. He's doing well. But I like I said, are they there yet? No, but I like the direction they're headed, especially when we talk about Cincinnati, because when we talk about Cincinnati, they're not known to spend no money, and they did a lot of good bargain shopping, They went swift shopping and got some guys that are solid players that's helping them out. And, in the draft, Joe Burrows and Chase are definitely getting it done, so
hit well.
It's definitely that. But
wouldn't want to go there otherwise.
You said what?
Some success can get them some free agents that otherwise wouldn't even let their agent book a flight.
Because Marvin Lewis was able to turn that. Like, he doesn't get enough credit for bringing them out the cellar and making them a destination for a lot of guys that would never have went there. I mean, we all saw what they did to Corey Dillon, and nobody would forgive them for that.
No, but
they were done
at the indoor practice facility. You watch that pop up now.
You said what? No what?
The past, Jason. Corey Dillon, baby.
Workhorse, baby.
You watch and see if they get an indoor practice facility now. I don't think Joe Burrow is going to be out there shivering too much. Get one now.
Yeah, they got to put some money into
when
into
it's
the program.
Cold outside, girl, we going in the bubble. We don't want Tiki to get the sniffles. Yeah. Hey, listen, that's what jokers used to break out into singing when Fossil was like, "Hey, we going to the bubble, guys."
Yeah, we'll be.
They said it's because he didn't want Tiki to get a cold, catch cold out the door.
Yeah.
Hey, and again, this was the funniest thing about playing us, guys. You come up to New York in December and everybody like, man, the weather is going to be a factor. And I used to think for us too, we don't practice in this.
Yeah, exactly.
It used to be hilarious. They just thought for whatever reason we was out there freezing all day. I'm like, man, it's heaters on. It's heaters on, we indoors.
Kevin's got heated seats in that Range Rover on the way to practice. He's like,
we got heated seats on the bench and trying to get heated seats on the sideline. We trying to stay warm too,
I'm like, man, we in practice at all. We ain't do walkthrough out there. Like, it was new to us too. Like, they're like, make sure y'all get out there and test them cleats. I'm like, I know, because we don't know what works.
Right,
your whole
right.
field.
Exactly.
Hey, it worked in Lambeau though.
Yeah.
Was it 07? I went up there and knocked off Favre's last game in Lambeau. Remember that, Eli? They didn't practice in it either. They didn't do it either.
Well, speaking of Lambeau, I mean, sure, if Green Bay continue with their success, I know K-Lou mentioned earlier how they had that one bad loss, but they got things rolling. They beat Washington football team 24-10, and then New England blew out the Jets 54-13. Good Lord. But then circle back and talk about the Dome inside with they didn't play inside. Atlanta against Miami. Atlanta beat with Matty Ice, baby, getting it done 30-28.
What?
And then Matty Ice, baby, 30-28, man, getting it done, man. Pitts had over 100 yards. And then the Giants, we talk about that. K-Lou mentioned about the Giants. Man, they must didn't practice in the bubble because they was like, we staying outside, and they beat Carolina Panthers 25-3. So just those teams alone, those Atlanta, Miami, Giants, and Carolina, I'm calling this the Deshaun Watson 2 games, right?
Sweepstakes.
Sweepstakes, right?
You are on the clock.
You are on the clock. So what's your thoughts on that, man? With both of those teams losing right now, too legit to quit. Hey, bro, I know we keep talking about it, but I mean, what you think, man? Is it gonna get done? Carolina, yeah. What's your thoughts?
I think he's gonna go to Miami. I think that process got further along without a second suitor, and just from outside looking in, y'all can speak to it, but it just seems like it's rare that where there's smoke, there's fire, and things get along the way. It's rare that second emerging team actually pulls it off, and I feel like all this is probably doing is just driving the price up. But I feel like they paid Bradford, or Darnold, I should say. Although, gosh, he's like Sam Bradford. I think that
worse.
I think they're gonna ride it out. I think it's gonna get wrongly chalked up to CMC being out, and I think he winds up in Miami because I think that's also a little bit more tolerant of an area for the. For what he's got going on and surrounding him.
Oh wow, that makes huge sense, Jason. That right there, because
he'll
being
fade
in the
into the
Bible Belt
background.
is completely different.
Yep.
You're gonna have protesters out there every week in Carolina.
And Miami can afford the 6-game suspension. That's I think the most important thing this year.
Yeah.
They've already given up on this year. They know it's over.
Up in Charlotte, man, those Karens are going to turn their anti-vaxxer signs over, and on the other side, be like, "We don't want rapists," and then they're going to, So it's unfortunate because I think the story of the coming home and God, if we've ever needed one, we need them now. But I think that would be too good to be
that's
good.
huge.
But Carolina might outbid.
Yeah.
He's
David, what's your thoughts? Huh?
Well, I mean, I think part of it's down to him and the no trade. The no trade clause.
Yeah, he got a no trade clause.
He has a no trade. I mean, I guess he'll go anywhere now because he wants to play. So the report has come out that he's open to multiple teams. I think it was Miami, but I think Tua has played a little bit better, and I just think it comes down to the owner's tolerance and who's going to give up what. I think I think Miami's always wants to make the bigger splash, but Tepper wants to as well. So I just think who has the most tolerance out the owners.
You said who also does?
Tepper likes to make splashes as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
Between Stephen Ross and Tepper.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's going to come down to that. I think Miami thinks they can live with Tua, but I mean, Tepper sees how terrible. I'm sorry, Donald's just not that good.
Right.
Any other words to say it? So he's going to be desperate, but. I mean, I could see him, with a no trade clause saying, "I want Miami."
I don't think it's that. I think he'll take Carolina. I think he will.
I think he will too. I think it's whichever team pays more now. I think that's what this is about for Texas.
And I think right now with Tepper, he hasn't given. We have full draft capital. We're not kind of hamstrung. We're out of all the bad contracts. We have no bad contracts, and I think the recency bias of remembering how recently we were tied up in some bad contracts will wrongly keep them from him. I think. I think that.
Well, what?
I think it'll wrongly keep them from paying for Deshaun. I think that they're going to not want to give up too much draft capital because they're still in young team mode. You know what I mean? And they look at all the picks on defense, and they've all worked out somehow. So I think the success we've had through the draft will probably wrongly, you know what I mean? Because if you've seen what your picks turn into, you're going to start valuing them, like every one of those picks will be that. You know what I mean? And so they've seen their picks turn into immediate producers on the field. But I think it's going to stop them from really good. I think Deshaun Watson is 2 number ones and whatever else you want. Like
exactly. Know, it's like it's a reminder to me of what Kyle Kuzma just said about the Russ trade, the Westbrook trade. What his response? They said, asked him what his opinion was about getting shipped. What was it? 5-10 players for him. And he was like, that was a great trade, and you should do it every time. So that's how I feel about that Deshaun Watson. Whatever they ask for, give them. Like, it's not too much.
There's no Deshaun Watson in next year's draft.
Right.
And let's think about this too, guys. If y'all name top teams in the NFL at any point, like of the season, Super Bowl or whatever, we're going to be talking about the quarterback. And I hate to say it because I'm a defensive guy, but it's a quarterback driven league for a reason. So if it's a winning quarterback out there and you don't have one and you're not trying to get one, you're not trying to win. I don't care what team you are, what organization you are, like you're not trying to win.
And that's what I found interesting last week is when they started with the 3 team before Carolina was being brought back up again. And I was like, Houston's got to get a quarterback back. Miami can send Tua, and Carolina can send Darnold.
They won't do that. They won't ship Darnold because they're not going to be sure Deshaun's playing immediately anyway. That's the thing.
Don't matter.
It don't matter.
Double A had the best point.
Somebody off the street to finish the year.
Yeah. Well, Double A had the best point. Miami Carolina's still thinking. They still remember that 3-0 start. They're still thinking they can save their season. Yeah. I think that hurts them. That hurts them. Miami still has an opportunity for a season, but they can more afford to get him. He'll play when he can play. You know what I mean? I think
they're going to suspend him.
Newer head coaches, so they could both stand.
Well,
Carolina still thinks they got a shot this season.
Yeah, Matt Rule got to me. He's got more power than what's his name.
Flores and Greer are on the.
They put Flores in the hot seat.
Those 2 guys, huh?
Yeah,
I think
Flores
so.
on the hot seat, right?
Because they passed on because Greer passed on
Matt Rule. Yeah, he's got more power. I mean, he make all the
personnel.
Yeah.
Flores got stuck with once Greer passed on Herbert. That's
Double A. Was that Greer or the owner that passed on Herbert? I thought it was Greer. Okay, the GM made that decision. Okay.
Yeah.
Ross ain't that involved?
He's 80-something years old, man. He's got thicker glasses on than I am.
Hey, Jerry Rick still doing it.
He knows how to build parking garages, man. He don't know how to draft quarterbacks.
Wow.
I'll say that the only way that the Panthers still get Deshaun Watson is if Tepper, I think, puts his ego aside, because he seems like a guy that knows he needs him, but he won't be on the wrong end of the deal. It just seems like that he's that kind of guy. And I think if those conversations start going that way, especially with a franchise like Houston that is crummy to deal with anyway, but now look at them. They know they got the gold bar. You know what I mean? So they're going to be on the other end of that phone like, oh, I want it all. We'll call me when you'll give it. They don't seem like, so I feel like maybe, but Tepper is going to have to be willing to be on the overpaying side for the first time in his life.
And I don't think Miami's got the picks to offer up, to be honest with you. I think Carolina's sitting on a lot more picks than Miami is, from what I remember.
No, Miami got a lot of picks from actually the Houston, Texas deal. No, they still don't have a lot of capital from there.
I thought they used most of that stuff.
They used most, with the Tulsa deal,
and then San Francisco. They got then they traded back. I mean, they traded back up into the number 6 spot. They gave
what's the website to look for that on?
But I mean, I think Carolina. I don't know. Y'all would know more about it, but I think Carolina, man, is being really aggressive. I mean, they're willing to will and deal. As far as the trades and stuff, because they ended up trading for C.J. Henderson. They need a corner. They ended up made the trade for Gilmore at New England Patriots. I mean, to me,
they paid.
Huh?
They stole both of those players.
You said what?
They stole both of those players. They gave nothing for either one of them.
Right. And then they traded for Sam Darnold, but I'm saying they gave up draft capital. When you talk about pay him, where are you getting to wrap that Temper is not going to pay him? I guess that's my question.
Look what he paid for all the players you just said. He gave nothing. We gave more for CJ, I think, than we did for Stephon Gilmore. Figure that.
Well, you didn't have to give anything for us trade wise. Then contract wise, you trade for him that he wants a new deal. He made it clear. Then you look at Teddy Bridgewater. They signed him as a free agent. He was the hot free agent. They paid him a whole bunch of money. They cut bait with him after 1 year, right? Then they traded for Sam Darnold. They picked up his $18 million option. And now they're like, okay, if it ain't working out, they're not afraid to cut bait. To me, they're doing exactly what Seattle is doing. Their general manager come from Seattle. So their thing with Seattle, like they don't mind like cutting the loss. They don't mind saying, okay, we was wrong, we move on. And to me, I look at it that way. That's what I'm trying to say is there's some inside information with Temper not paying them. Because to me,
if you look at
with their aggressiveness with being able to trade and will a deal, showing me that they're committed on winning. They're trying to win.
But look at what they say about every deal. Same thing with Sam Darnold. If you'll remember, when we got him, people were like, oh, that's all it took. Like, you know what I mean? So same thing with C.J. Henderson. People were like, man, we thought, Jacksonville, that was actually viewed more Jacksonville than Carolina. And then with Gilmore, he was going to get released. So we just threw a 6th-round pick at him. And so I think that is more of
he likes
Tepper is like, let me see what I can steal out there.
Yeah.
He wants to go. I mean, why is we going to get tax breaks and it's the richest owner in the league for practice facility and stadium upgrades? I mean, he's got more money than any 3 other owners in the league. So I don't think he's gonna pay the price. I mean, if it comes out and we got a second for Deshaun Watson, or we gave a second, okay. But it's gonna take more. It's gonna take 2 number ones, and
let's start thinking about this too, guys. At some point, the pressure shifts on Houston because at some point you got to start thinking about the future. And I'm throwing this out. The closer we get to this trade deadline, I think the pressure shifts, and they may be willing to take a first and a second or whatever lower than they've actually asked for the entire time. Because when you're looking at them as an organization, we got to start thinking about draft. We got to start thinking about free agency because this thing is going to happen. And if we get stuck with him, now we're limited in what we can do in the offseason.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with that. So this is definitely
have a higher one.
Houston has 2 number 3s. They have a first, a second, and 2 number 3s this year coming up. Miami has a first, a second, a third, and a 4th.
What's Carolina got?
I'll tell you.
But then, whose number 1's going to be higher, Carolina or Miami? I'm not.
Carolina has a first, a 4th, and 2 5s. They don't even have a second and third this year.
Man, we can't even name the top 5 draft picks. I don't know why they worry about this year.
Hey, but I want to circle back.
You better be trying to get 2023.
You don't even know who the Heisman is.
Jason, I want to circle back to
2023 draft picks. That's what I want.
I look bypass this one. To me, I look at this, right? And this is why I say when I look at what Carolina doing, I see Seattle Seahawks. I see Scott Fitterer, who's their general manager. I see him following the same blueprint he did at Seattle. And this is what I mean, right? If you're concerned about money, right? You sign Teddy Bridgewater. You give him $15 million to sign, right? Then you guarantee his 2021 salary of $10 million, fully guaranteed, right? So then you could turn around, you get Donald, right? And then you pick up he's got an option you pick up for $14 million, right? But then now you hear him talk about like, look, that's dead money. Like, look, if they ain't working out, we'll make a trade for you. You hear them now making a trade or possibly making a trade for Deshaun Watson. So to me, that's I just look at it different. I look at it, man, they're trying to be aggressive. They're like trying to will and deal. They're committed on winning. And I just look at it different, I guess. You know, I don't know the background on Tepper. I just know that from what I'm seeing, it just think like I look at Carolina, wow, they're really trying to make something happen. And obviously you talk about the Gilmore, you're right, they traded 6th-round pick, but I mean they trying to get in where they fit in, and to me they're willing to do whatever it takes to win. And if they make a mistake, it's like, so what? We'll move on and get the next guy, you know?
I don't think it's the money. I think it's the draft capital. I mean, if they could buy him from Houston, I think he'd buy him. But I think it's just the fact that, like you just said, we ain't even got a second and a third. So now that just depresses me the rest of the way because now I know this deal ain't going to happen.
Well, they gave it for Sam. They gave it up for Sam, you know?
So that's why I'm saying for Tepper, it seems like he has to be the winner of the deal. And there's not going to – whoever gets Deshaun Watson, they will be the winner of the deal in reality. But they ain't going to be the winner of the deal in that transaction. And I think it's going to take 2 number ones and some middle stuff. And I think Miami has the draft capital to throw at it. I just don't – because if you think about it, if we give up our number 1, we ain't picking again to the 4th or the 5th, right?
But, hey, listen, let me say this, though, based on – and that's what I'm saying. From Seattle's standpoint, right? Seattle, I mean, they don't care about number 1 draft pick. I mean, having the first round. They'll trade out in the first round to get more capital, you know? So, I don't know. That's what I'm saying. When I'm seeing signs of just my 3 years there, I'm seeing this dude's following the same blueprint and whatever it takes. Now, the fact is, now, would they trade? I'm more on K-Lou in this regards. Like, Deshaun with this cloud, this question mark over his head, would they trade? I don't think somebody's going to give up 2 first-round picks. It may be something far as a conditional, something like that, you know, based on what happened, you know. But yeah, so I look at it more like that.
I wouldn't underestimate this guy Tepper. This guy had 5% of the Steelers before he ever got into the Panthers.
Yeah.
The Steelers.
But he won that deal. He won that deal.
Yeah. But I don't know. I just think. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I'm curious to see. I think, like K-Lou said, it's more pressure on the Texans now because if they don't get this deal done, then now you got to carry Deshaun for another year, and they got all the cap. That's some stuff. Now you got to go in the off season with this, and then now maybe it'll be some clarity. It's just hit or miss now, you know, because with this stuff that's the allegations, lawsuit, would that be cleared up by then? Hopefully it will. Then the picture be brighter. But if it works out where it's convicted, then it's you can lose. It's just gambling. It's more gambling, you know.
And I heard it's getting real awkward. He's been like showing up to get paid. He's been showing up to the practice facility. That's got to be awkward. That's got to be a weird. No doubt. You don't want that around your building. Trying to change culture. I mean, not saying he's guilty, like you said, there's allegations, but he's still showing up every day. It's still like the 100-pound gorilla over your franchise. Like we still got to look at this dude. He going to
and there's no way. And there's no way
DeAndre Hopkins light you up.
And there's no way Elway's still in this game. Looking at it,
I think he's waiting on Aaron Rodgers for some reason. I got a feeling he's waiting on Aaron Rodgers.
Well, they mentioned it. They mentioned him as they did mention this different possibility, but yeah, who knows? You know, that's tough.
That'll be his first can't miss since Peyton. And he missed on Payne because Payne was throwing it, 7 yards at that point.
Yeah, he was.
Not those first couple years.
But, hey, of all those teams, who could trade their starting quarterback right now? Denver. They could send Teddy to Houston. But the guy they got behind Teddy's better than him.
Drew Lock?
Yeah.
Drew Lock can play. That boy can play. I mean, I didn't say he could win, but I said he could play. So,
okay.
Yeah. So, I mean – You ain't never seen him singing "Put On" for My City on the sidelines? Go ahead, K-Lou. You'll be rooting for Drew Lock. That boy can play, but they're the only team that can ship their starting quarterback right now to Houston and afford to wait. Like Double A was saying, like Miami can't really afford to ship Tua if they're in win now mode. But Denver, what? Okay, oh no, 6-11. You know, like what? It don't matter. Like they're going for that anyway. Nothing changes that for them this year. So they could jump in late.
Tua just threw 4 touchdowns and they still lost.
There you go. So, I mean, I think Denver's the only one that can ship their starting quarterback out of this whole deal. That might be what I mean, because Houston's got to get something. They got J.J. Watt and DeAndre Hopkins embarrassing them on TV. They got all this exodus of talent. I mean, like Double A's point, like what are they getting back besides a draft capital? They got to do something there. How are they going to sell season tickets?
Right.
So,
yeah. In Texas.
Yeah.
It's different.
Yeah, that's football or religion in Texas. You know?
Texas Tech coach just got fired. He's 5-3 this year.
Yeah, Matt. Well,
13-17.
If you had to make up a secret team, who would be your dark horse for Deshaun that ain't even being talked about? That's a harder topic. If you had to pull out a team that nobody's talking about, who is it? Seattle, Russell Wilson being down?
I'd say Dallas. They could sit on him with Dak.
No, I wouldn't say that.
They're all in on Dak.
Maybe someplace like New Orleans.
Yeah, New Orleans.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Think about what Sean Payton would
That's
be.
a real good one.
Oh man, right down the road.
Hey, Deshaun been running the option and playing receiver.
And kicking field goals.
Nobody cared what he done in New Orleans. Nobody cares about
that city would jump behind him, man. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
They would ban massages. They would just citywide ban. No massages.
What about the Steelers?
Yeah.
That was the original conversation.
Nah, they don't want
right?
Steelers.
I don't. That's a good one, but after everything they went through with Ben, they would be looked at like, oh, is this? Oh, is it?
I don't know. I don't know if Rooney's let that happen.
Yeah. Well, actually, like in that case, Jason, it's a great spot. If you start looking at it that way,
they set the precedent.
Yeah.
Oh, gee, y'all crazy.
Ben will teach him how not to get caught.
What they'll tell Deshaun immediately, hey, let's get you married, and we'll go from there. First thing we're gonna do though is get you married.
How about the Seahawks? I mean, they just lost Russ for the year.
No, because they're all in on Russ. Like that would like Minnesota. You can't bring in Deshaun unless you're saying 1-year deal.
Right.
He ain't going to Minnesota.
The year.
Wow.
Because I mean, Russ was threatening to get up out of there already.
Right. You don't want to add no fuel to the fire.
A sneaky team would be like somebody like Atlanta, where he's from. They could sit on him. They tied up in Mike Ryan's money the next couple of years.
Well, there go your excuse. Matty Ice did it again.
Home Depot got no more.
Without even doing it, he did it again.
They kept rolling his money over.
Huh?
Does Matt Ryan have a no trade clause?
No, it's just that his money, they keep rolling his money over. So like next year, he counts like $40 million.
Yeah. Matt Ryan and 5 1s is not too much to pay. Would anybody here not?
They would need 5 1s to make up for him. That's the problem.
What does that say about him? What does that say about him, MB? If it would take 5 1s,
I know that's crazy.
And even then, they'd be like, "Give us a couple minutes. We'll call you back."
Atlanta's got 1 1 and 2 number 2s.
Oh, that's crazy, man. That's crazy. I'll tell you.
I'm Indianapolis or Minnesota. Those are my two. Like you wouldn't think, but people in that building that know football.
Let's remember now. You can go deeper than 2022. You go 23, 24 too.
Yeah.
So you can give those away. So don't lock them into just 1 year.
Yeah, I just don't see nobody giving that type of draft capital with this cloud over the head. This is
again, though, MB, with multiple teams now interested, tells me it's going to be a bit of a slap on the wrist at best because there's still zero conviction.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And it don't really seem like it's going to be one.
And if the market's right, you got a multiple bidding war, so the price goes up. It won't get them at a discount like Miami thought they were going to get them.
Yeah.
And what did you always say, Kevin? It's a copycat league.
That's
All
right.
it takes is a couple GMs hearing, wait, they interested? Hold on. But, it could turn into better to go here than there.
That's what I think happened with this multiple stuff. Because remember, we were 3 teams, 2 teams. And then all of a sudden, yesterday, the day before, multiple teams. You know what I'm saying? Like, So I'm thinking, okay, obviously that's more than the 2 or 3 we already knew were interested. So exactly what you just said, Jason, has occurred. And I think that only comes as a result as folks done call the league office and said, hey, what's your plan with this guy? Yeah. And they said probably there's no plan because there's no violation, or all we can do is suspend him for a couple games because he really what we gonna suspend him for right now?
They can't suspend him. They can't,
you know what I'm saying? So it's we can't even do anything, right?
Yeah, is he on the inactive list right now?
Yeah,
what's he?
I mean, he's not even. He's taking up a spot
every game.
Yeah, he's not on the commissioner's list or nothing like that.
He's burning a spot.
Yeah.
That's what makes this thing so crazy.
The closer we get to that trade deadline, the tougher it is for Houston.
If he get traded, that's gonna force the NFL to do something. They're gonna have to do something.
Hey, because they sure gonna suit him up. He gonna
if I'm trading,
he get off the plane. He going, hey, we got practice, guys. I'm sorry. I know I told you had today off. I lied. Deshaun's here.
Right.
Yeah.
Let's
go.
Maybe he winds up in San Fran. They can send Jimmy G back.
Hey, Kyle will send everybody. Trust that.
Hey,
Kyle will send everybody.
So hold on. So speaking of San Fran, right?
I know your boy Trey man. We don't need to talk about that right now.
Hold on. Speaking of San, I know your boy Trey is hurt, but when he get back, who's gonna be the starting quarterback?
No.
Are they gonna make the team?
I think he's gonna give Jimmy one more shot. Right, I think he's gonna give Jimmy one more shot. I think they're gonna blame the rain last night, like they've already had in the post game. I think he gives Jimmy one more shot, and then if Jimmy doesn't beat Chicago with the rookie quarterback Justin Fields, and he looks bad in Chicago next week, I think they go to Trey Lance on the coming back home to Arizona the following week.
No, he's
giving Jimmy one more shot.
Jimmy's gonna play for the rest of the year if he stays healthy. I think that's all.
Hey, Lou, Kyle can't take it. Kyle's like he want to pull out a gun. He can't take it.
And Kyle wants Trey to learn so he can be ready next year because Jimmy's out of there.
But Caleb, they starting to question Kyle though. They starting to question Kyle big time. Play calling off script. Like the fan base is starting to ask questions on Kyle Shanahan. So he's gonna want to put it on Jimmy G and say, look, Trey bought him some time, but they starting to question Kyle Shanahan. It's not all rosy like it was.
Lynch will tell him to shut up.
Huh?
Lynch will tell him to shut up.
They started to question Lynch too. Look at that secondary, all them defensive pass interference, and he ain't driving no cornerback early. They started questioning him.
If he don't tear up the Bears after,
it sounds like the Haven is in front of all this questioning. That's what it sounded like to me. How many boys you on chanting fire both of?
Grant, I'm on all of them.
He's making it sound like KD. He's making it sound like
I was up to 3 o'clock in the morning watching post game last night. I was disappointed. I was disgruntled.
That's torture to Haven.
Coming off a bye week like that. You're coming off a bye week. You're playing Indianapolis. You make Carson Wentz look good. All them. It was disgusting. That's not how 49er football.
They got a 4-game losing streak. I think to me they 2-4 right now. They 2-4 right now, right? I don't know. I think regardless of how Jimmy G does against Chicago, I think when Trey's healthy, they may say, you know what, let's just roll with the young guy, man.
But the problem we got is the NFC is top heavy, right? There's 7 playoff spots. The top 5 teams are 5-1. So if we're like 1 game out from Minnesota's in that spot now. So we still think there's a chance. So as long as he still thinks there's a chance, he might play Jimmy, even though I think he should switch. But if he thinks there's a chance and the NFC's so top heavy, those last 2 spots are up for grabs. And
you passed the meeting
overrated team. We're probably the most overrated team coming into the season. So I still think he's going to, if he still thinks he has a chance to win, get into that last spot, then he'll probably keep playing Jimmy. But I can't take it no more as a fan.
You're 2-4. You're in the bottom of the division.
Yeah, but but there's 7 spots. There's 5. Like the top 5 teams are 5-1.
You got Arizona and the Rams will come out of the West. They're 7-0, 6-1. Tampa will definitely come out of the South. They're 6-1.
Yep.
That's 3. And then you got Green Bay is 4. So,
New Orleans and Minnesota at 3-3, right?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I see what he's saying.
And Atlanta.
But we're 1 game. We're 2-4. We're 1 game behind those teams.
Yeah. I mean, you're third in the West. So you saying, as long as he feel like he's got a chance, he'll go with.
Yeah, and if he beats Chicago, he'll think he has.
He'll be 3-4. Yeah.
He'll be 3-4. Then you got 2 division games: Arizona and LA.
Yeah, against Arizona and the Rams.
And Los Angeles.
Yeah. Speaking of the Cardinals, I know we'll go after this. What's your thoughts? Can the Cardinals remain undefeated?
Yeah, Devontae Adams is not playing Thursday. He's on the COVID list, and the defensive coordinator for the Packers.
They'll win Thursday. But
they'll win Thursday.
They'll lose 3 games.
I looked at the schedule because being the son of a 72 Dolphin fan, my father, I looked at they got to still play the Rams again, even though it'll be in Arizona.
Yeah,
and they have a year-end game with Dallas that could be real interesting.
And Kyler's taking some hits too. Don't. I mean, he took a lot of hits even against Houston the other day. He's been taking some hits. I get worried. He takes a lot of hits.
Who's their backup?
Good question.
Exactly.
Who is their backup?
Hey,
he keeps shaking shots. We might find out.
Hey,
might be their coach.
You know one team we didn't mention?
Colt McCoy.
Las Vegas.
McCoy.
And they got a guy, Chris something. I don't know how to say his last name.
Colt McCoy?
He's still in the league.
He's still around, Jason.
He's going to get his pension.
Yeah. He got his AARP card. It falls out of his locker. Oh, let me grab that. I'm sorry. God, man.
All right, man. Hey, listen, before we close up, any predictions tonight with the who we got tonight? Seattle and the Saints, is that right?
Yeah. Seattle.
Who you got, K-Lou?
I'm gonna go with the Saints, man. They need it bad. Yeah. Jameis Winston gotta show up, man. He playing for his career right now, and somebody need to whisper that to him.
I don't think it's a whisper anymore.
And is that what's your thoughts, D. Haven? Who you got, Seattle or New Orleans?
I got New Orleans. That rain that was in San Francisco last night is going to be up in the Seattle area, and I like New Orleans better running game, a little bit better with Kamara. Jason,
who you got?
I think Seattle's a more complete team. I mean, they're not going to be able to run. I think if Russell Wilson was there, we all pick Seattle. But I think in Seattle, I don't think Jameis Winston's ever rose to any occasion unless crab legs were involved. So I don't know. You got to go.
Man, he got a daddy. He talking to a guy with a ring.
Let me be immature. That was
that ain't right. That ain't right. Double A, who you got?
You can't ever go against Seattle at home, especially in this kind of weather that's going on up there. That just it's going to be windy and going to be blowing, and if it's windy, Jameis ain't throwing the ball.
Wow. There you go. K-Lou, any final thoughts about anything, bro?
No, man. Y'all know what time it is. We appreciate Double A. Tua legit to quit, baby. DeHaven, MB, and K-Lou. Hey, look, man, thanks for pulling up, stopping through, hollering at us because you know us. For Sideline to Baseline, we are gone.
Prime time. Latest.
K-Lou.